So what you're essentially referring to is the sensation of awe. And what you're saying is, and tell me if you disagree, but it seems like codified awe from religion sort of grounds people in the grander understanding of the ways of the world. And
I think it's all, but I also think it's something about breaking out, because you talked about indoctrination and repression, and it's absolutely true. For example, if you're born, someone who's gay in an extremely religious Catholic home, that could have extremely negative effects on you. But by the same token, a belief in God, a belief in something greater than the limited circumstances might cause you to question, okay, why was I born in this extremely religious in this extremely religious household as a gay person? What is my meaning? What am I supposed to do with the life that was handed to me? So I think awe is a good way to put it. It's about looking beyond your own limited circumstances.
Right. But that's the entire enterprise of philosophy. Now, why would we pick religion, which cannot be updated, is codified in a text that's permanent, versus philosophy, which is a continuous conversation all throughout human history?
Also, religions can absolutely be updated. Continuous revelation is a part of, I'd say, most major religion, and certainly Judaism.
And that's exactly what I think was Jonathan trying to do when he said, listen, you're looking at the wrong parts of religion to make the case. I don't think we're looking at the probability distribution of religion to make a case, while you were continuously indulging in the revisionist approach of updating.
So, we're speaking from, at least, I can't speak for Alex, but at least from the Abrahamic religion that I understand the most.
Sure.
And in that sense, I think that there's no progression or there's no questioning. It's something that's fundamentally against what I was taught as dogma from childhood.
But that could be exclusive to Judaism, because you guys have
But here's the case that I'm making for Christianity and Islam is, even in a case where somebody is brought up, and Alex said this earlier, where they are viscerally hurt by the dogmatic nature of religion, it is the dogmatic nature of religion that forces them to come to adversity and become better for facing that adversity. And that is another aspect of utility that's unmet.
But I think that's just circular logic, right? So you approximate adversity based off the religion that you're in, because you're constantly challenging and questioning what you're being told as far as the doctrine of the religion is concerned. But then you have to find a way to validate it, right? So you're continuously updating a way to make sure that this text is right and is in accordance with my own intrinsic morality and the morality of society at large today. It's not happening because of religion. It's happening, you're trying to do it in spite of what the religious text is telling you to do.
But it is the religion that is causing you to do it, which means that religion, whether it's seen as you as good or bad, has a utility.
No, why not human curiosity? Why not the intrinsic desire to know?
Because when you're born in a preset state, and this, I think Jung talks about this a bit earlier, but he says that there are three types of people. There is the lamb, the lion, and the baby. Right, the lamb being the person who accepts the doctrination from childhood, the lion being the person who's rebellious constantly and says no as a contrarian at every single point, and the baby who simply accepts some, doesn't accept others, lives through life with constant curiosity. Now, if you do not have something put against you, if you don't have some sort of basic contradiction, something to evaluate, then you have no reason to move forward. I think what religion does is it gives you a yin to your yang. It gives you a set of beliefs for you to disagree, remodel, edit, whatever the case is for your own personal life. But you need that sort of understanding of what a value system may or may not look like in order to come up with your understanding of the world around you. Otherwise, we're all just monkeys shitting, eating, and spitting.
I think that kind of goes back to tie it back to an earlier point about the fact that lack of religion in the modern day, and we can question the causality, but that lack of religion has at least been associated with depression. It's not that you can't have extreme adversity because of religion. It's that adversity in and of itself actually causes you to have meaning in your life. I mean, Islam literally means struggle. It's literally a struggle with God, and that's
Israel also.
Yeah. Israel is also wrestling with God. Christianity, the fact that Jesus will continually forgive your sins, and that the first step to being a good Christian is to recognize that you have original sin and are flawed from birth. So I see the fact that secularism leads to this depression is actually because it's too easy. It's not because the fact that religion gives you difficulties, things to deal with, the fact that you have to wrestle with the fact that, for example, as a Jew living in modern day society, it's extremely hard to be properly observant. That's not something that in practice makes you feel bad about yourself. It's something that causes you to find the value in your life as you live it.
The only response, and I think it sort of works with the metaphor when you say that religion's the yin to your yang, the only adjustment I'd like to make in that is that this entire circle is not divided in half. It's basically yang with a little bit of yin, and the religion's the yang, and that's what it is. So when you mean this challenge that you need to survive, first of all, I'm quite surprised that is an assertion you can make without testing it, because I don't think that is the case. I don't necessarily
think what is the case?
That you definitely need something of a challenge of the nature of, hey, you have original sin when you're 3 to have a successful and happy life.
I don't think you need it. I think just to maybe clarify my point, you can respond more effectively to it. Human experience in and of itself is a challenge, and religion gives you an idea of the framework of that challenge, that you come from people who have been continually going through that challenge. It gives you a way to understand it. So the 3-year-old is going to feel bad about himself no matter what. It's not that telling him original sin is going to make him feel bad about himself. The 3-year-old will understand that he's imperfect, that he's not who he wants to be as he grows up and discovers his flaws as a human being. Religion gives a framework through which to understand that struggle.
And it forces you to have to make something of yourself to a degree, or at least interact with something. Somebody who goes through life without religion completely has no set, he can have an interior set of sort of an aspiration or a goal, but it's not as if it is ordained that he must have some sort of aspiration and a goal.
No,
I think that's a pretty outlandish claim. I think that, again, is intrinsic to human beings. They will all strive for something more.
They will find
themselves.
something.
But also,
but they're not told that they have to.
Even the original sin argument. Again, I don't agree. I'm actually staunchly on the other side of that, where it's introducing insecurity, it's introducing fear, it's introducing shame to a child that has basically this, endless amount of possibility in front of them. Now, absolutely, adversity is going to happen as a product of being a human being, but there are plenty of other ways to navigate adversity. Your culture, your tribe, your community, right? They all have narratives and stories of the different levels of adversity that they've faced. And again, it is necessary to experience adversity, but it's not necessary to continuously utilize this same outdated template when it comes to approaching that or what to do about it. Because I do think that that's harmful. And especially as society evolves, you can update that. You can improve upon that. You can find completely alternative modes of creating some type of methodological system that allows people to do something in life.
Free markets.
But here's the
free
thing.
markets. Let me pose. Can I
just?
So here's the deal. I think I don't understand why we need such a cost-laden method of providing people an idea of a meaning at all. And what I mean is, would it not be natural? And if I invite you to think, to have an external sense of striving rather than this constantly elusive internal nebulous sense of striving with God. And I mean, as a society, we've been doing this, and should we not continue to build structures so people can find this adversity in a more safe, in a more secure fashion in the outside world, than go to the bottom of their misery that is and here's the deal. Say, let's run this thought experiment. If you're moving into the future, either adversity is going to increase outside or it's going to decrease outside. Those are the only 2 ways it'll happen. If it's increasing, why would you not let people find it outside? Then what is the point of capping it with? Let me finish. What is the point of capping it with religion? And if it's decreasing, which is truly the case, the fact that adversity is in general, then why do we need to glorify this primitive concept of adversity if it's decreasing?
So let me answer that. For the collective nature of adversity. Now, I understand that you're saying you can get collective nature of adversity from culture, from society, and I'll approach that portion in a second. But just to your point, the reason why don't we just let them face the adversity they have in their own personal lives and derive meaning from that, is because there's a certain beauty that comes with facing a collective adversity that you wouldn't get. Now, that beauty can also be derived from culture and society.
Let me just clarify what I was saying. I wasn't saying personal adversity. I'm saying why not let it be a bottom-up phenomenon? Why do you have to impose that adversity when it can rise from the bottom? As me and Perry can get into a common adversity,
Yes, okay. So you're saying, why can't it be a bottom-up adversity?
Right.
So we understand that collectively the adversity that's from bottom-up can be various different types of adversity.
And then we can pick and choose. Yeah,
right. So
it could operate in a free market.
So those various different types of adversity, I believe, will give you some sort of utility. But a collective adversity that is experienced by everyone gives you, I think, a far greater significant adversity.
But here's
now,
the deal.
Whether that adversity,
Here's the deal. I don't want your adversity. I want Praveer's adversity.
Sure.
Right?
You can have that. You can have your own adversity and Praveer's adversity. Mm-hmm. But I think there's something you get even more if you're facing a collective adversity. Now, that can come either from questioning what your culture is or what your society is or whatever the case might be. But when you do that, then that frame of adversity is constantly changing in a sense where who is to say that the Mesopotamians didn't have their version of collective adversity, and the Babylonians their version of collective adversity, and the Greeks and the Romans and so on and so forth. Yes, society and culture does give you one frame to approach that, but really the only thing that can string all of that together and erase the cultural, societal, and state lines is a belief in some sort of higher being. The reason the reason I believe that you'll have Christianity alive today, even though you no longer have these societies or these cultures, is because there was something that was beyond debate, right? There was something that was intrinsic, a certain golden thread through which all of the cultures were wound together. And that is a belief in some sort of divinity.